I have a Supra!
Is that a Supra?
We have a whole bunch of work to do on the Supra, and by the end of this, it should be looking a lot more like a complete car. We have to mold this ducktail into the back of the trunk, fit these flares onto the car, and start making some custom side skirts to blend in the flares and make this look good. It's a pretty straightforward day, just getting a lot of work done so we can get this car out on the road and looking hecka sick pretty soon. That was a weird phrase. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with the ducktail. The last time that we worked on this, we put some rivets down and we got this pinned up to the trunk so that way it's pretty sturdy. But now we need to go through and make it actually flush. The first thing that we need to do is drill another hole on the in-between side because this just has too much play right now, and so I want to get another rivet to hold this down. But we're not actually gonna rivet that in though, because once we get all those holes drilled on the top and the back, we're actually gonna drill these rivets out and pull the whole thing off. The reason that we're doing that is because then we're going to scuff up all the surface underneath, lay Bondo glass filler on top of the trunk, and then take this ducktail and rivet it back on over top of the filler. By doing this, the filler is also gonna act as an adhesive to hold the ducktail on, and it's gonna make the bond a lot stronger. In addition, it makes it so much less likely to crack, which is exactly what we're going for because we'd hate to do this work and have it be ruined. So it's time to set you guys down and let's get to work. Besides, it's gonna be 70 degrees outside today. Oh my goodness, what a great day to work on cars.
I dove into the deep end, cause I thought I could swim, but we break up every weekend. Was it gonna be like that? Oh, I just wanted you so bad. Playing with my mind, was that your intention? Cause I'm missing you. Cause I'm missing you.
You know, this weather kind of sucks right now. Like, it's sunny, and so it's warm, and so you have your sweatshirt on when you get out, and then you take it off because you're getting warm. But then about 15 minutes later, a breeze comes through, and you're like, it's kind of nippy. Let's put our sweatshirt back on. So you put it on thinking that that's going to keep you warm, but then it starts to warm up a little more, and so you roll up your sleeves, and that's the point we're at now. And then you're just kind of in this in-between stage where it's like, what do I do? Do I take it off? Do I keep it on? I don't know. But the only thing that I'm really sure of is that I sell sweatshirts. Check out the link down below. Oh, got you with that one. All right, let's look at the ducktail now. So with this fiberglass filler completely dry, this thing is solid as a rock on the back. It is not moving. And on top of that, these gaps are a lot more sealed. So now when we do the filler layer, we're not gonna get any cracks. So what we need to do next is we need to go over this with a rough sanding grit, probably about 40 or 60 grit sandpaper. Sand this down so then we have space to put our body filler over top, let that dry, and then sand that down. So we're gonna go ahead and get into that now. Let's get this sanded and smoothed.
Cause I'm missing you.
Good math. Now I already started some work on the back flare. This is where the old gas cap was. I cut that out and then filled that. So that is all good. It just needs to be sanded down. I also did the area on the back, but we do need to cut out the area for the gas cap. Now this is fairly simple. All we need to do is trim out here and then put in fiberglass just like we did on this area, essentially just adding that back. So that's not going to be too hard for us to do. In addition to that, we do need to redo this front section. I had laid it and then it just warped itself, unfortunately. So that needs to all come off and then restart it over. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but it's just part of the process. So that's what we're working on next, doing the gas cap in the back, refitting the fiberglass on the front. Tragedy has struck and I am completely out of coffee. Like, on the same note, our fiberglass resin has dried up now, as well as here on the flare. So we are going to pull this off and then get the back fiberglass up, trimmed up, and then put some body filler over the top. Same with this piece over there, so we can get this ready to sand. Oh, even on such a sunny day, this still looks so good. I just can't drive it. But a radiator is on the way, so we're going to be able to drive this soon. I am so excited. The body filler has dried, and so what we need to do next is we need to trim this up before we sand it, because if we don't trim it up, then we're going to be sanding parts that we don't need to. So let's go ahead and trim that up, trim up the back area, sand this smooth, and then we'll go from there. I've been sanding and filling all day and my arms are actually kind of shaking now, but it was well worth it and we are almost there. So as a quick catch up, where we're at is that we just finished laying this pinhole filler over the filled areas. Now I mentioned that this takes a bit longer to dry, so I'm letting this sit overnight because if I accidentally rush this, then we have to redo it all over again, so it's just not worth the risk. So I'm letting it sit overnight, but we have that area covered. We have the area of the gas cap at the back light and the front piece as well. Body work is very time consuming, but it's absolutely worth it in the end. So we're gonna go ahead and let that dry overnight. It's the next day, so let's sand down the putty. We are at a point now where the ducktail and all the flares are at the same stage, so everything has been sanded down perfectly smooth, and now it's time to prime everything so we could finish this up and get those perfectly on the car. So let's set up the camera and start priming everything. Man, that looks so good. I'm so happy. I can't wait to drive this. This ducktail is looking very nice. I just love how well it blends back into the trunk. It may need one more going over, but that's totally fine. I'm so happy with where we're at. It looks so smooth, and I just love the look of it right there. Same for the antenna here on the side. You could barely even tell what it was. It's perfectly smooth all the way across, and that's amazing. Now this back flare was a bunch of work because we had to cut out where the gas cap was, fill that back in, then cut out back here and fill, trim back there and fill, but it looks so smooth. I'm super happy again with this gas cap here, how you wouldn't even know that it was gone by the time that this is actually painted. It just perfectly blends in. The back here is really good. The only issue is that I just need to trim back a little on the top here, so that's not setting in right. But other than that, this is pretty near perfect. We're in pretty much the same situation in the front. It's super smooth. I love the curve of it. I just need to trim a little back on the top section here so that way this can sit flush. I don't want to crack it right after making it look all nice and good. And then of course we have this other side that was the side that we started on first. But it is so nice to be at a point where both sides of the car have the flares on. It just looks so nice, and I'm so happy with it. It's just a big step to have both sides on, and now we can move forward from there. So we ended up not getting to the side skirts, which I almost kind of expected. Once I started sanding, I was realizing it was taking a bit longer than I was anticipating, which is fine because that leaves us something to do next time. And in addition to doing that next time, I think it might be a good idea to get these wheels on the car. I'll see you next time. Subscribe!